All right, so today I want to give my input about probably the biggest conversation surrounding Honkai Star Rails version 3.0 right now. And that is the triple rerun banner thing. And people saying, oh, this format is good, or oh, this format is bad. So today I'm going to go over what it looks like for version 3.0, and I want to give my overall thoughts because I don't think it's so simple to just be like, oh, it's all good or oh, it's all bad. I think it's a bit more nuanced, and I want to give my take overall as to how I feel about this triple rerun thing, especially since we're getting 2 triple reruns in a row. So to start out here, just to show, if you somehow haven't even heard about this, for version 3.0 for the banners, we are getting 3 rerun banners running alongside each of the new 5-star characters. So in the first half, we're going to have the Herda as the new character, as well as reruns for Lingsha, Fei Xiao, and Jade. Then for the second half, we're going to have Aglaya as the new character with reruns for Boot Hill, Robin, and Silverwolf running. And this is a lot of characters to just be thrown out all at once. So starting out here for why I think it's good for this, triple rerun system, I think that it's good just because it's giving more characters the ability to be available. Because if we're just running, one rerun banner at a time, like the game has done for the past year or so, for the most part, you're really just limiting how often characters are going to be able to run and people are going to be able to get those characters. So there's going to be a longer sort of wait period. And if there's a longer wait period for a character to get a rerun, they're honestly less likely to be in a spot where players would want to pick them up because it would have been so much time having passed since the character was here. And that especially is true for characters that end up getting power crept. So if a character is like pretty good on release, but then by the time they get a rerun rolling around, they get power crept, players really aren't going to want to pull for them. With an example of that, honestly being Silverwolf here, I think she is by far the worst of the 8 characters for 3.0. And she did get a rerun earlier in Star Rails life, which was still like pretty decent value at that time. So because she was able to get one relatively quickly, that was good for her. But for characters who have spent a while, waiting for a rerun, you might start to, lose value on those characters and not really see as big of a reason to pull, which makes those banners not as, good for you if you're looking for, those characters, which also sucks because I know a lot of people like a lot of characters, and if you can't get them on their main banner, you're really gonna want to get them on a rerun. So if the character is not good by the time the rerun rolls around, then you're gonna be conflicted, which while players aren't gonna, especially for like free to play and low spending players, there's not really the expectation that you'll get all of the characters just because of the way that these games are, are made. I do think that players being able to get, more chances to get characters is a good thing. But let's talk about the negatives, because Hoyoverse really just hasn't done this as good as they should have when it comes to having multiple rerun banners, right? So there really are 2 main negatives for the triple rerun system that we have currently, at least for what we know for 3.0. The first one, which is one I didn't really even consider at first, but after hearing the take, it definitely makes a lot of sense, is the fact that these triple reruns so far have only been targeted on really important patches, and in those reruns have been characters that are really important, having basically bloated patches in terms of the characters available, which is going to make players either struggle even more to not have certain characters or to force people to spend money, which ends up being very predatory. Like back when we had version 2.5, which is when the first triple rerun happened, we had reruns for Kafka, Black Swan, which wasn't really too crazy, but we had a Robin rerun as Fei Xiao was running. Then now we have the Herda, who's also having Jade rerun, who they're both going to work very well together as their addition characters. Then also Fei Xiao and Lingsha running here. Lingsha is kind of just like a loaded character because she has so much versatility with follow-up. She has a summon, she does break. So like Lingsha is kind of like jack of all trade kind of character. And then Fei Xiao being a follow-up character. But guess what? If you pull Fei Xiao as a newer player, you're going to want Robin. And guess what Robin is? Second half. So if your resources are like are limited, which they definitely are unless you're like a super new player and you're just starting as 3.0 comes out, you're definitely going to have a rough time. And then if you want break stuff, for Boot Hill, you might want to pull Wingsha as well. And that's just going to lead to you having to spend a lot more resources, you're not even considering the like lost 50/50s. If you're going for light cones, lost 75/25s. So it is a whole big thing to try to get these characters, especially when they put them in these super inconvenient spots for the players. But then the other negative I have with it as well is the fact that I think that upon them introducing triple reruns back in 2.5, this should have became either just a more frequent thing or just straight up every patch doing the triple rerun format. Because while we are getting reruns of some cool characters this time around, I do think that having this be a thing for more patches, especially in 2.6, where we only had one new limited 5-star, that would have been so much better for a lot of players, because since I don't think too many people really pulled for Rappa, that would have led to people being able to pull for even more rerun characters if they had more available, because that was when people really had resources. I think overall that is just going to make the player base like the game a lot more if they're able to get these characters. So I do think that while I don't have like a full solution on my mind or anything like that, I do think that they need to do this triple rerun format every single patch, but they also need to give at least some thought. Like obviously, they're a gacha game company, they're a business trying to make money, but I do think that thinking in the best interest of the player is also important, and making sure that every time we get a follow-up character that there's not also a Robin rerun. Spacing them out is going to be pretty helpful, and also the fact that there are characters like Sela now who hasn't gotten a rerun in over a calendar year. Now obviously, if you're talking like a pure meta standpoint, Sela's not as valuable anymore as she once was, but I know there's people out there who started playing after Sela's first rerun who want Sela, so the fact that she has been basically unobtainable for over a year, I think is absolutely crazy. I think gacha games should not have characters that are unattainable for so long. But if Koyaverse doesn't do this format well enough, there's still going to be characters that are unobtainable for so long. And I think that's something that's just bad for the game in general. So yeah, that's my overall thoughts on the triple rerun banner thing. I don't think it's fully bad, but it's not fully good either. We're going to have to see what Hoyoverse does going forward. If I see version 3.1 there's only one rerun per side, then I don't think that's going to be a good thing for them in all honesty. But we'll have to see. Let me know what you think down in the comments below. I'd love to hear your thoughts. Thank you all so much for watching. If you enjoyed and want to see more content from me, be sure to hit that subscribe button. But with that, I will see you all next time.